Welcome to the Dog Liaison Podcast. I'm your host, Jenna. On this podcast, we like to get nerdy in understanding dog behavior and cognition. So if you like science, you want to know the why behind why your dog does what he does, and overall you just enjoy deep diving, then this podcast is for you. So let's get into it. Marianne says, do you have any advice for a guardian whose spouse doesn't mind staying home all the time and has a codependent relationship with the dog? First and foremost, this is perfectly normal. I don't think that we need to demean or punish the partner who does have a codependent relationship with the dog. I think that there are a lot of trainers who would do that. I don't subscribe to that mentality. So I think the first thing that we have to do is address that it's there. If we can get the guardian to also address in what ways they feel connected to their dog, and in what ways they feel that there might be a codependent relationship, that can be helpful as well. So if you can get your partner to acknowledge in what ways they may be relying on their dog, or in what ways they may be comforted by their dog's presence, and in what context, that I think is a healthy conversation as well. I think from the dog's perspective, the only reason that would be a quote unquote problem behaviorally is if the dog is experiencing any separation related problems. In fact, being left alone is stress inducing for the dog. Even if being left alone is stress inducing, but he never has to be left alone, then it's not even a problem really either, right? Sometimes we think that a dog should be left alone simply because someone so said so. I mean, you're the one living with your dog. If you don't actually have to be leaving your dog alone, and they're none the wiser, they don't even know what it's like to be left alone, then it is what it is, right? But who are we to say that that's an unhealthy lifestyle if it's perfectly working and perfectly happy for you and isn't inhibiting the experiences that you and your dog can have in their own right? That said, let's assume that there is something that the guardian needs to go do. The guardian should be going to appointments, should be going to do whatever. And in fact, they are not doing that because they're attached to their dog and they want to stay home with their dog. I think that sounds like a place for the guardian to seek out therapy. In the same way that we would give the dog therapy in that situation, I think that it is healthy for us to treat the guardian and see if there's any support that we can give that guardian from that end. Of course, I'm not a licensed therapist, so I'm not going to speak any more on that, but that's just my thought on that. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, it would help us tremendously if you would leave a review sharing what nuggets of gold were most valuable to you and why you think other dog guardians should listen to this podcast too. And don't be a stranger. Contact me and Team Dog Liaison on Instagram, Facebook, and email. Links to all of our socials are in the description box of this episode. We are wishing you well, and we are hoping that you jump into our very next episode. We'll see you soon.